All right, that's dried a little. I'm gonna work on it some more. One thing I like to do is when we have this dark area here, I like to make the shadows kind of blend in. So there would be some shadow here, and then this cheek, maybe that sticks out, but the rest of it blends in, and you can see, well, you don't know if you can see, but when you do it yourself, I'm adding the pencil texture back in there, and it's kind of nice. And then also here, this hair shadow, we'll do that, and then we can soften that a little by making that the shadow from the hair, and then let's go back in and make that hair darker even. And we want a little bit there. And then we'll go back in. I think I've said that 100 times this video. That's silly. Yeah, I think there's too much water on there, so let's just dab that. And we're gonna just bring that up. And we got that. Oh yeah, see how much darker that gets? Because I have that pencil back on there. And we want to soften that pencil line, because there's really no lines in life. So if this is, if you're trying to do a cartoon or a stylized one, then lines are perfect. If that's your, that's what your vision, you want to see that, that's perfect. But there's not a whole lot of lines really in life. There's all lost edges and found edges. So what that means is, like here, this is a lost edge. The hair kind of just goes into the shadow. And I'm going to actually, you saw me scrubbing that. That's to make that even more pronounced, or less pronounced. So then when that dries, I'm going to go back in with the pencil even again, because I liked having the little bit of texture from the pencil on there. All right. Oh, let's bring that shadow just down a little bit under the eye too, and then soften it because I don't want the watermarks there. All right, I think that is still wet. I was hoping it was dry, but it's not. What we're gonna do now is I have my crayon, and here, and when I thought about doing this drawing, I knew the crayon is a big chunky tip, right? So I'm not getting a whole lot of detail with it. It's probably better than some crayons, but this one is a little bit, it's bulky. So I'm going to use it, I'm using it for the background. And it's going to be, and I'm going to draw my frame around the picture. That was actually a fine line, that's nice. I'm going right over it. And again, the color doesn't matter what you have, because it doesn't, you just need different colors. And you decide what you're going to, which one you're going to do. I did the face with the pencil because it was the finest point, had the most control, but that easily could have been done with the color pencil if I wanted to. One of the questions I have here, am I going to do it with a line of white around the head? I think so. Let's see what that looks like. And, oops. And I was gonna say, if we decide, or I decide I don't like the line around the head, then I can always go back and color that in. But once I've, like right there, once I've put the line there, I cannot, because it's there. Except I think I can. I'll try to see if I can show you how to fix that. All right, so that is just going to be colored in. I'm not going to bother doing that with you. I want to show you what I'm going to do down here. And it's going to be a gradient, so it's going to fade. So what I'm starting to do is press lighter and lighter, because I want to fade it down to nothing, and keeping the silhouette of the shirt. And I'm just going to color this in while I'm here, because I want that to be all a wash too, and then maybe I'll go back in and add the crayon over it for a little bit of texture and variety. And that doesn't mean you have to, that just is what I'm going to do. to show you different options. All right, so this is a small brush for this area. So that's gonna be, let's see what it does. Oh, that's pretty color right there. That's very vibrant. I imagine all of these, well, they all are. All these crayons are vibrant because of all the pigment in them. Pigment is the amount of color stuff, I'll say, for lack of a better word. Literally couldn't have a worse word. Yeah. So here we go. I'm getting a lot of water on my brush, turning my hand. I'm trying not to, scrubbing a little, I guess. And I want to be careful not to, whoops, messed up there. That's all right. All right, let's see what we can, let's see how this gradient works. Looks like it is working. And I keep getting clean water, and I'm putting it down. Clean water, and that's bringing the water with the color down too. And now I'm just bringing the water down. And I have it, now I just dried my brush off, cleaned it off, dried it off with a paper towel, and now, if you see, I'm picking up the water because I don't want this puddle to be a lot of water. So, but now I'm getting the water again, so I can clean that with just fresh water. Oh, you couldn't see that. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll do it again. So what I did is I rinsed my brush off. I just have the clean and dry, and I just go in like this to pick up some of that water. What I'm going to do too is over here, see if I can get some of that up. So then it might be a little easier. All right, I'm going to see if I can show you how to lift up some of that color to see if this works. So here, my hand was a little wonky, so I got a little bit of this purple on the white that I didn't want to do. So I just touched it with a little bit of water. Now that it's still wet, I'm going to dab it with a clean tissue. Holy moly, look at that, perfect. And I'm going to do that again over there to see if it works there too. I mean, I have no doubt it's going to work just as perfectly as that first one. Oh my goodness. Look at that, I just saved you so much misery. You're welcome. And what we can do now, I'll show you a little trick. If you take this as your palette, you can just get a little bit of paint or color on there, and then use it as a watercolor paintbrush. A little too much water on there. I want more pigment, and that I can sharpen this line a little bit like that. So that's a neat trick, and this is a great strategy or idea if you do that. If you're out drawing or doing these sketches and you have these tools, instead of bringing a bunch of paints, maybe you have a crayon and you just use that as your paint. So I'm going to go back in on this green with the pencil, or whatever color this is, turquoise, and just make it a little darker. And I'm using the lines because I want the directional lines, and then I'm going to space them out as I go down. And I'm going to add, I'm not going to add water to that, I don't want to. But I am going to go back in and see if I can make, oh, that's a better angle. There's some glare on there, so there you go. So I think that's about it. And there's a lot of texture here. You see all that. So you would need probably a bigger brush to really trying to soften that up when I did the watercolor there. You can see how the water dries and creates all those textures. So you'd have to practice to eliminate those. But I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to clean up the edge so the texture of the crayon is the border, not the watercolor wash, because down here is the pencil, is the crayon, and then less pressure. So I like that. I think that came out really nice. I hope you learned some things. The colors work good, the texture, just the fun of blending it and seeing what happens. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, if you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments section below and I'll try to answer those for you. And I hope you have a wonderful month. I have another one of these that I'm going to be working on, so stay tuned for that too. And thanks again. Have a great month, and remember to smile, create, repeat.